better team if we came up and represented ourselves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sac City Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined as always by your boy, the reigning, defending, undisputed, only somewhat heavyweight valedictorian of the show. He is AJ Johnson. Below him, we have my best friend in the whole entire world, Aaron the Mukesiah Mukes. And to his side and below me, we have, the smoothest voice in sports casting. He is Dylan Kearns. What's up, everybody? It's a beautiful May 27th evening here in the city. Episode 34 is about to be underway. We've got a great show ahead of us, diving into the AFC South, their schedule, and their 2022 outlook. We've got top stories. We've got a Fun and Games Friday trivia game. We've got it all on tonight's show. AJ, how goes it?
It's Friday. It's a long Friday. It's a good weekend. I'm excited to not have to look at Sunday and be like, oh, well, that was quick. I get an extra day. I'm so excited. I never used to get 3-day weekends because I worked in the restaurant industry. So, like, holidays just meant I was working longer. So now I get, like, an extra day off, and I'm looking forward to it. I can get a lot of stuff done. That's the plan this weekend. It's a good day. But we're here in the present, football, all that stuff. Yay.
Over, under, two things that get done on AJ's list. Taking bets.
Absolutely over. Absolutely over.
I'll hammer the
you
over.
Don't know what's on my list.
And then he'll say, "Oh, I tried, but my computer crashed on me."
Yeah,
don't put that into the world. I don't need that problem,
man. Spectrum.
I was on the phone with Spectrum for 4 damn hours.
Nah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, we've got a great show. I'm just going to dive right into this, guys. We're going to do the game first because it's Fun and Games Friday, and then what happened?
Man never listens to anything. This guy.
What I do?
I knew I should have put it on the doc, and I didn't. And then because I'm always like, okay, well, he's going to come to each of us, ask us how we're doing, and then he just skips it altogether.
He never cares how y'all are doing.
He's so disrespectful.
As never cares how y'all are doing.
Lately, I have not gone to everyone in the beginning.
Just picked AJ.
Normally, it's one person, and then I move on.
But Aaron, my life is so interesting.
Here, how are you? I'll solo you, and you get your moment to shine.
Thank you, because I'm sad. This is a little bittersweet moment for me. This will be my last show. You didn't even announce that. This will be my last show for the foreseeable future. I don't want to do this solo thing. Can you please be back to 4-box? I'm going to get emotional.
Are you scared?
No, this is a very emotional time in my life right now. I've been emotional all freaking week. This is going to be my last show for a while. And no, nothing crazy. We're still doing the Sac City thing. I'm still part of the team. AJ didn't kick me out or nothing. But yeah, I'm my major announcement today that I wanted to tell the Facebook and YouTube viewers that have been so behind us is I'm starting a new job. I'm moving to Georgia. And I know I posted it on Facebook for those that have been following. I will be a sports director at a news station. I'm not going to tell you what news station on here because I can't promote that news station on here. However, I am going to be a sports director. I will be on TV. You will see a lot more clips of me posting things. But this will be my last show for a few weeks, perhaps, until I can get settled into my spot in Georgia. And I want to tell all of you viewers, thank you, because you were a part in this as well, allowing me to come on here every day and talk my shit and ramble on and on until Vinny tells me to shut up. And you were very receptive to that. So thank you guys out there for watching us. And these guys are going to kill it while I'm gone. But yeah, I wanted to say thank you to everybody and let everybody know I'm not going away. This is just a short intermission. I'll be back in a few weeks and in a different state.
We renegotiated his contract, is what it was.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna need a lot more money, guys. Okay, now I'm the big time, and I might need a lot more money.
Well, that's actually not how it works.
Yeah, you remember when Dylan was big time?
Yeah, Dylan's been big time, and he actually got a pay cut. And then
but the difference is Dylan wasn't on the show. Like he was big time and wasn't here. I am still going to be here.
So I actually got a bigger pay cut after I got my job. So that's kind of just how it works. Because once I got my job, things started getting hectic for the city. So I'm hoping it gets hectic for you, which it probably will.
You work from home, don't you?
That is also very, very active. But AJ also works from home, and he doesn't have a goddamn second in his life.
But you know AJ.
No, apparently he doesn't.
I do. But congratulations, man.
Thank you. I say thank you to you guys, but I've told you thank you enough. Like you guys are, a big reason as well. So, but we have
a
our
long time coming, man. A long time coming. And I gotta say, man, like props to you for holding on. I remember, earlier in the search when you were thinking of taking jobs that honestly just didn't deserve you. And as hard as it, and not to like make it about me or anything, as hard as it was for me to tell you to like hold, because I just knew something better would come, like, because that's your life. And for me to tell you to hold, like, that's not, you know what I'm saying? But you did. And I'm so happy that the sports director position opened up out of school, man. Like the first position you got. That's amazing. That's awesome. Gives me inspiration. I've turned down some jobs because I want to be like you, buddy. But congrats, man. Real deal.
Thank you.
Congrats,
appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Okay, Vinny, now you can proceed.
I before I now go into it, though, obviously we're all proud of you, but you brought up something that I find very funny, that everyone watching the show, I don't know if they understand how much they mean to us, like how much their support goes into this. Like we're, as people who are just trying to get into this industry, we're submitting stuff from this show to the big time, like to ESPN. We're submitting this stuff to the big networks to hopefully get our foot in the door. And this show would not be possible, and we wouldn't be continuing to try and go above and beyond if it wasn't for everybody in the chat, everybody watching on YouTube, everybody listening to us in their car right now on the podcasting platform. It wouldn't be possible without them. But either way, congratulations to Aaron. Like AJ said, that couldn't have happened to anyone more deserving than you. We wish you the best of luck. And we'll probably see you like next week or something. You'll probably
I will find a way to be on the show as soon as I can. You guys know that. So.
He'll be broadcasting from a bus station as he's homeless.
This is the best. This is the best question, though. Does this mean that you'll become a resident Falcons fan? AJ,
come on, man,
needs some backing. Although AJ has,
first of all, you guys know me better than that. I don't jump ship. I'm with the Titanic. I'm the violinist on the Titanic that's going down with my ship as it's sinking. Okay, I'm going all the way down with the Dallas Cowboys.
You're a Jets fan, remember?
At least your ship is still in the process of sinking. Mine and Dylan's ship, well, part of Dylan's ship has just been sunk for the past 25 years. Okay, so there you go. But I
don't get the reference.
AJ, I was going to refer to your Wentz love. That's what I was going to refer to.
I get it.
It's like Patrick Mahomes to me is like Carson Wentz to AJ.
Yeah, there you go. At least you just picked a better quarterback to support.
I will never support another football player again because it'll follow me for the rest of my career, apparently. So every player sucks. It's just what it is.
That's much better. That is much better. All right. Let's do it, boys. Can we see this? We cannot see this. God, mother. This is what we are doing tonight. You guys have to give me the top 20 players with the most sold jerseys in 2022. You guys get 3 strikes. This obviously isn't going to work, so I will let you know if they're on there, and we will go from there. 20 players. We'll go around the horn. Try and knock me out. Same rules as last week. Okay? Everybody get it? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we
It's from this year?
Top 20 jersey sales of 2022.
Okay.
Top 20 players with the most sold jerseys in 2022. Active players. AJ, once the music starts, you are on the clock.
All right. Well, let's start off with the easy ones here. Let's go with Joe Burrow.
There it is. That is correct.
Yes.
Who's next?
Aaron, you're next.
I am going to go with big offseason moves. Devontae Adams, Raiders.
That is incorrect.
What?
Wow.
Incorrect. This is from last season. This is from last season, not upcoming season.
You said 2022.
2022. You screwed us there, Vinny.
So I'm thinking right now.
No,
Yeah,
I meant
restart the
from the prior season. From the prior.
That doesn't count then. I'm not going to say Devontae Adams old
Clown
ass Green Bay jersey.
2022 season. 2021, 2022 season.
Okay, can we go back then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get another shot here since you didn't. Yes.
Tom Brady.
Nobody understood that.
Correct. Tom Brady
Yeah,
is the number
man.
one jersey sale of the year, by the way.
Patrick Mahomes II.
That is correct.
Matthew Stafford.
That is correct.
Old McDonald, Mac Jones.
That is correct. He is in the top
Wow.
5. He is number
Yeah,
5.
I remember last year after the draft, it was
Yeah.
a big thing.
Dylan?
We'll go Jalen Ramsey.
That is incorrect. You have a strike.
That was a
Not a
good
bad guess.
guess.
Jamal-
Not a bad guess.
Jamar Chase.
That is correct.
Super Bowl champions. What? Aaron Donald.
That is correct.
Oh, I picked the wrong defensive guy. Gonna go DeAndre Hopkins.
That is incorrect. You have 2 strikes now.
Now you're
And-
An idiot.
You could be the first person eliminated in this game.
Most
If-
definitely will.
So just to reset, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more players remaining.
There's 13 players left.
So it would have been easier to tell us how many we've already gotten.
You guys have
All
gotten
right. I'm going to say this, even though it just popped in the chat. I was going to say that before you started counting. Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills.
That is correct. You guys have knocked out the top 3. It's Brady, Mahomes, Allen. Actually, you guys have knocked out the top 5. Brady, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Mac Jones round out the top 5.
Wow.
You guys are missing the rest of the top 10, though.
I'll stay the homer pig. I'll say Dak Prescott.
That is number 6.
If this was based last year going into, I'm gonna say Stephon Diggs is still getting jersey sales.
And you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
All right. Aaron Rodgers.
That is correct.
Oh, that was my next one. Dallas Cowboys. I know Zeke wouldn't sell. Who did they do? CD Lamb.
That is
Ooh,
correct. He is
that's
at
a good
13.
one.
What?
13. Yeah, he was drafted last year. You got to think about guys that were just drafted.
I'm also
AJ?
going to think about guys that were taking the league by storm. Debo Samuel.
That is incorrect. That is your first strike.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, I was gonna go there too. Quarterbacks. You said Aaron Rodgers, Russell, Lamar Jackson.
That is correct. Number 11.
Still taking the league by storm. Let's go with my guy, Kyle Pitts.
That is incorrect. AJ is
No.
down to the last strike.
Wow, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick. I'm glad I
Two in
stopped.
a row, I thought.
Well, there
those two were
goes my. I was gonna get ready to say Panay Sewell. No, I'm just playing. Who was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago? How long do I have?
I really it was 10 seconds. What we were going with.
Travis Kelce. I'll say Travis Kelce.
That is correct. Travis Kelce is on the
Wow.
list.
It's a good one.
He is 19.
Oh, that was close.
Well, you already guessed you guessed Stafford and he's 20. So
I didn't guess Stafford. That was AJ.
That was me. Yeah.
That was
He's
a
20?
good one.
All right, well, I won't say that. But I believe.
It's never about how good they
All
are.
right.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm going to take a flyer. Trevor Lawrence.
AJ is out.
Damn.
Wow, Trevor Lawrence
The
didn't.
number 1 overall pick.
Nope.
Jacksonville
The
happy
Jag
fans.
jersey.
Damn, 3 in a row that I thought were I thought at least 2 of them were surefire.
So Aaron, you have what? 2 strikes?
No, I have no strikes.
Yeah, he's got 0.
Took away the,
I have
you took
zero.
away the one that because you didn't
Your
play
response to
anything.
AJ's made me feel like you kept getting him wrong as well. But it's just
I was just gonna. Those were like my next guesses when he kept saying, because I was getting ready to say Zach Wilson next, and he said Trevor Lawrence. So I'm definitely not saying Zach Wilson. I'll say George Kittle.
George Kittle is 7. So you have 1 through 7 right now, or you have 1 through 7. You have number 9. Number 9 was Aaron Rodgers. Number 11 was Lamar Jackson. So you're missing 10, 8, 12, 15, 16, and 18.
Wow. Jesus. Why can't I think of anybody's name right now?
You want me to feed the duck? That'd be better.
Well, the music is distracting me because I like the beat.
Okay, I'll
But
give you have a good beat.
But I don't really. I'm trying to think of some names. And did we say Tyreek Hill?
We did not say Tyreek Hill.
I'll say Tyreek Hill.
There's your first strike. Tyreek Hill is not on this list.
Okay.
We're gonna go through these
Oh
strikes.
man,
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is number 10. Yep.
I was like, why is Justin Herbert's name not said yet?
there's another easy one that we definitely overlooked.
There's a few easy ones that you have. I had the Rockberry hoping to get you pumped up.
That's too. No. I'll say it, Jonathan Taylor.
That is also incorrect.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
One more
Derrick
strike.
Henry. Derrick Henry.
That is also incorrect. You are now eliminated.
Cooper Cup.
I have one. This is the final list. There are some names I didn't think would be on there, but it is accurate. I fact-checked this on multiple websites. Tom Brady led the league
It was Zeke.
in jersey sales. Patrick Mahomes followed him up. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Mac Jones, Dak Prescott, George Kittle, Justin Fields was the other rookie quarterback you guys did not name. Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, TJ Watt, CeeDee Lamb, Aaron Donald, Nick Chubb, which kind of surprised me a little bit, but got to shout out the Dog Pound. Zeke was on there. You backed off of that one. Jamar Chase, DK, Kelsey, and Stafford round out that list.
Take the one that's sitting.
I'm actually happy that I won this battle.
That's pretty good.
That's good. It's good. All right.
He
That
said,
was our-
he's like, I'm happy I won it. He like all of us had to guess 20 names.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, there's 3 of you with 3 strikes.
They got their 3 strikes after like 5 names. I had to do the whole damn thing by myself.
That's
I
not my
got like
fault.
7 of them right.
Hey, I
I'll be
lasted
honest-
longer than
I'll be
them.
honest, dude. I've been watching. So shout out. I guess I'll shout out that they don't really need a shout out because they're already doing great. I've been watching a lot of Barstool lately, and they have a trivia contest. They do like a trivia tournament, and I've been watching them, and that's where I got the idea of like a list this type of trivia style. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna. And lately, it's just been too easy for you guys. Like every time I try and do something, it's always like super easy. So then I'm taking it to the next level. I'm saying, F you guys.
Super smart.
Well, you are. I mean, this is why we
Duval
get paid to do this.
Victorians. You're not.
Yeah, there it is.
Anthony
Austin
Harris.
Eckler was not on there. TJ Watt, Bailey Guess was on there. Jalen Hurts not on. Yeah, interesting
What's
list.
the names that were shocking to me that weren't on there?
For sure. Let's get into the top stories, and we kick things off with LaShawn McCoy. Shady McCoy is back in the news, obviously not playing, but he had some choice words for his former offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's the reason why every year they keep hyping him up to get a coaching job, a head coach or offense coordinator job for somewhere else. And then when the time comes, nobody hires him because they know what type of coach he really is.
So Shady had some really, really choice words for a offensive coordinator that everyone has been talking about being the next head coach, but never gets the job. So Aaron, I'll start with you. What were your first thoughts when LaShawn McCoy and that quote popped into the world?
Like most people, I thought LaShawn McCoy is just trying to get clout. But then when I thought about it a little bit more, this is things we've said. And I'm not speaking directly to what LaShawn McCoy is referring to about his time in Kansas City. But Eric Bieniemy, every year we're talking about him becoming a head coach or being a possible candidate for a head coach. And then he doesn't get the job. And we've come on here a number of times. I know myself particular have said there's got to be something. There's something these teams are not seeing, or there's relationships that have been fractured that is not giving him the opportunity, because we've seen time and time again other guys get the job over him. And I think Shady's onto something. but I don't know if it's directly what he's referring to as far as the reason why Eric Bieniemy is not getting these jobs. I'm sure there's a little bit of scorned ex-girlfriend type mode going on in his mind, but there's definitely something going on with Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the idea that we finally have some insight. And despite what you want to say, whether Shady McCoy just hasn't been around, so no one's heard from him, so he's just talking or this and that might have some sort of truth to it. But let's not forget, these players in these locker rooms, they are upfront and personal. They see these things. They see things that that other people who are acting these things don't recognize other people are seeing. And what I mean by that is, who's to say Shady McCoy wasn't sitting off on the sideline watching Eric Bieniemy berate another player who maybe deserved it, but could have went a different way about it, And it's things like that. We look at how Urban Meyer was left from Jacksonville because of the things that he was saying and the things that he was doing to his staff and his players. These are adults. These are grown men with families, responsibilities, and there's a level of respect that goes on. And if you go into an interview with any of these organizations and they get the type of feeling that you're not going to be a positive influence to them, they have reason to stave off and go another route until they feel that you're the right person for their position, for their opportunity. So if it can't just be what you put on the field, it has to be the type of person you are, the fact that you are or are not a leader of men. And so far, it seems that Eric Bieniemy hasn't been able to prove that to an organization. Rooting for him, but doesn't look like we've gotten there yet.
It's always interesting when players that either retire or just have been out of the league for a little while end up having these platforms where they speak. And it doesn't just happen with LaShawn McCoy. You see it with other football players, basketball players, baseball players. They go on these podcasts. They tell stories of certain things. And this sounds like something Shady McCoy's held on to for a little while. And he had a platform to voice why he believed Bieniemy was not going to be a head coach. There's a reason there. And I think it does go back to AJ's point. You gotta make sure that you make these background checks big time when it comes to head coaches. The Urban Meyer example is one that, just got thrown over the wall. That was one that they thought, okay, yeah, he's a winner. Let's bring him in. Doesn't matter. Character concerns can get by as long as you win football games. Well, that got magnified. So if that truly is the case with Eric Bieniemy, then maybe LaShawn McCoy's onto something here.
This one just doesn't make sense to me, to be completely honest. And I see it in the chat. Some people are saying Shady's just trying to stay relevant. Although I'm not completely sold on these old timers or these guys that are not in the league anymore trying to stay relevant. I don't believe that. These guys are former NFL players. They're always going to be relevant in some way, shape, or form. I just want to go back to when Shady was actually playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. He actually said these very kind words about his former offensive coordinator, saying he's one of the best running backs coaches in the league. It's time for him. You keep hearing his name come up. Usually where there's some smoke, there's some fire. I think eventually he'll get a job. He told that to NewJersey.com. To me, this is very weird to me. Like, I don't understand why he would say something like this. Like you said, Aaron, there may be something going on in the background that we as the media do not see. But Shady goes from praising him to trying to tear him down. Maybe he was praising him because he had to, or maybe now he's just salty because he's not in the league or didn't like the way things were handled in Kansas City.
Well, okay, so I that's the first time I've seen that quote. You mentioned you had a quote earlier from Shady. Can you bring the quote back up? Because I read that completely different. I read it as he gave him respect, saying he's one of the best running back coaches. Like, it's time for him to get an opportunity. But I don't know where there's smoke, there's some fire. Like, yeah. I don't know. Is he saying like there's other things going on that are keeping him from getting that job? Or is he talking about there's smoke, there's fire, like he's going to be getting hired soon? The one thing that I will speak to, I don't think this is about old heads trying to stay relevant. I think if we didn't have the whole entire clip there, Shady said some other things about the way he coaches some of the older players. They aren't very receptive to that style, and they're not going to take it. And I think that's where the tension came in between him and Bieniemy. Is like, hey, he's like, I'm a veteran. I've done this. I've been in the game. You're not going to talk to me like you may talk to someone. And that goes directly to coaching style. So even though this player had a disagreement, he could still have respect for that coach. And so I think what he's saying is maybe these organizations don't feel like Eric Bieniemy can connect enough in a locker room to a different personalities, older players, veteran players, younger players, and be able to command that locker room like they want from a head coach. And I think that's more of what it's about than just him trying really to bash Eric Bieniemy. And sometimes these things come across the wrong way when they're put out there a certain way. And he was having a conversation based on what Brandon Marshall and them were really asking him about his time in Kansas City. So I think it's probably blown a little bit out of proportion, but make no mistake about it. Shady's a respected running back in the NFL. Eric Bieniemy is, for the most part, from what we hear, is a respected offensive coordinator in the NFL. Does that mean he's going to get along with every player? No. And we've seen tensions like this in the past. I just think there is something to be said why he's not getting hired as a head coach year after year after year when guys are getting their first opportunity and he consistently doesn't.
That may be a good thing and maybe a bad thing, or maybe it obviously maybe a bad thing, but it also could be a good thing. It could be one of those things like, okay, maybe a Josh McDaniels situation where he's waiting for that right opportunity, or he's just waiting for the old man to go on to retirement. And that old man, I don't mean it disrespectfully about Andy Reid, but it's
he's old.
But
it's okay.
waiting for Andy Reid to pass the torch to Eric Bieniemy. Maybe they have an unwritten agreement of, okay, hey, like, you're going to be my offensive coordinator while I'm here, and then when I'm ready to go, the keys are all yours. We're going to move on. So, I mean, who knows?
Well, the only thing is, I think that's the last resort because we hear he applies for damn near every job that's open in the NFL. And if the case was I'm just waiting for Andy Reid, I mean, sure, maybe you toss your name in the hat for one or two to see your standing, but I mean, he is actively in the name for damn near every head coaching opening, at least spoken about once, So with it being like, if he was waiting for him to retire, I don't think he'd be so aggressive in the offseason. I think he really does want a head coaching position. And at this point in time, it's to go and try it no matter where it is. I mean,
let's not forget. Go ahead and finish.
If it was me, I would have done the Josh McDaniels route, tried it out, and hoped I could come back to Andy Reid while he was still there to continue to learn. And then maybe I get that position, or maybe I'm ready in the future when the next opportunity comes up.
Don't forget, he jumped on that Brian Flores lawsuit. He joined in on that Brian Flores lawsuit, and there could be something to that. And now that he's in there, he might not get an opportunity anytime soon.
Really good point.
Dylan, anything?
No, I think you guys really nailed it, hit the nail on the head.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. That does it for our top stories, though. We're going to get into our main event and our 2022 AFC South schedule and their outlooks. But first, AJ, please do the fans a favor and tell them where they can follow us at.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, it's Fun and Games Friday. And you know that because you saw the updates when you followed Sac City Pod, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We love all the support. We love all the love. And when you're on those sites, go ahead and give the love. Hit those hearts, hit those shares, hit those likes, comment. We love the interaction. The more you comment, the more we go back at you. We found our ways to get some haters on our page too. We love chirping with the YouTube and the Twitter fandom. So keep commenting, keep coming at us with that energy. And let's be frenemies for life, guys. For life. Let's be frenemies. So Sac City Pod, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Your boys are back in town. Let's get it.
Our socials are not just a podcast. We're not just like a podcast page, okay? We are putting out content at this point for everybody to join in and be sports fans. So it's not just a podcast page. This is if you're worried about branching out and following us on other platforms, just take the leap. We promise we won't let you down. It is where we're where it's at. Okay, our socials are where it's at. And also, don't forget to listen to us on all the podcasting platforms. If you miss a show, or maybe want to go back and listen to a show, or want to go play a show for your friend. Maybe you're at work and you got the radio. You got keys to the radio. Don't let your friend down. Put on the Sac City Podcast. Let your friends hear the greatness that is, and enjoy it in the car on the way home. Listen to us on all the podcasting platforms. We're there. Check us out. We're now going to get into the AFC South, and we start off with the Tennessee Titans. Their schedule looks like this, including 4 primetime games, 1 in week 2 at Buffalo, week 9 at Kansas City, week 11 at Green Bay, and week 17 against Dallas. This schedule, gentlemen, not very nice to the reigning AFC South winners. Dylan, what's your storyline heading into the 2022 season for the Titans?
My storyline is King Henry rules the season. King Henry rules the season. I think this year more than any other year, when you look at the Tennessee Titans, it has to be on the back of Derrick Henry. I mean, this guy's just an absolute bulldozer, and he needs to be the focal point of their offense. Banged up last year. You did have A.J. Brown, who obviously missed some time. A.J. Brown's out of there now. This has to be on the shoulders of Derrick Henry, and he has to be the one that could really get this team going. But, I mean, the defense – they're okay, but I mean, I think Derrick Henry, if there's no Derrick Henry this year, this team's going to be atrocious, and all their offensive production is going to have to come out of that spot.
Yeah, I'm going to slightly disagree with you. Derrick Henry is going to be amazing. I know that, but you can't be a one-trick pony, and taking away A.J. Brown, that is kind of what this offense is looking at. So my storyline is more about this defense and how long they can pull their offense along. Like we saw them do last year, this defense was a big reason why the Tennessee Titans were able to stay in first place in the AFC South, why they were able to get the bye. After Derrick Henry went down, this defense, that front seven with Danico Autry and Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, those guys really carried it along, gave time for that secondary to get back together and figure themselves out. They were ranked number 28th all the way through week 6, and they ended the season ranked 6 overall. They were top 3 for a number of weeks in the back end of the season. So I'm wondering if this defense is what it's going to be on again, because this offense right now, to me, I think their line has regressed. Their receiving options obviously have regressed. I'm not going to go too hard on Treylon Burks, but it doesn't seem like he's been able to put a full drill in at OTAs yet. And they've been talking about that a little bit here and there. So, I mean, Tannehill's got a very big uphill battle. So hopefully this defense can be strong and get a couple wins for this offense until they can get it together.
You're making those Titans fans upset in the chat, okay? You're making them upset with your words of hurt.
My truth.
Pain. It's hurtful. No, I find it really funny though. Like heading into last season, the biggest thing we talked about was the Titans defense, and that being their biggest concern. And it's funny how things change to where now that defense is what we're saying. How long can they rely on it? They get a Caleb Farley hopefully back, and that offense just still seems very shaky. There's a lot of uncertainty. If I don't know, I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. That's my personal belief. And then when you look at the schedule, it's not very favorable for the Tennessee Titans. Aaron, when you look at this, what's the one game or maybe games that stand out to you the most?
Yeah, so for me, it's just the big-time matchups in the AFC, the teams that they're going to have to beat to get to the Super Bowl, right? They were the number 1 seed in the AFC. We all know that. But they haven't been able to get past these teams in the playoffs. And you're talking about a Kansas City, a Buffalo, that they're going to be having to beat those teams and more consistently. They play in a division where they get basically 4 wins a season with Houston and Jacksonville. And again, I'm not saying they beat them every time, but a lot of people look at them and say, okay, that should be 4 wins on their schedule. This year, Indy's got a new quarterback. Indy's going to be good this year. We talked about the Raiders. They got the Raiders on the schedule. Green Bay's on the schedule. Cincinnati, Philadelphia's better. How are they going to compete against teams, playoff teams, consistently throughout the entire season? You talked about that offense. This is not a hot take. This is going to make people very perturbed at me. And I'm not saying like it's time for somebody to fall off a cliff. But Derrick Henry has nearly 1,000 carries in the last 2.5 seasons. 1,000. We saw what happened last year in the middle of the season. He gets hurt. He breaks his foot. I want to remind people how quick we are with running backs to label them the best running back in football and how quickly they fall off. I can name names: Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and now Derrick Henry, who before 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he was okay. He had barely 1,000 yards, was splitting carries, about 215 carries. And then 2 years ago, he starts getting the bulk of the carries, and he goes bananas, 1,500 yards, then 2,000 yards, and then almost 1,000 yards last year in the half the season. But now he's 27, right? He's going on 28 years old. It's going to be a decline more than it is an incline. He's not going to get better than what he's been. He's going to only go down. And I think I think that's a big problem for a team that relies on the running game so much.
Is it though? Because I know what people are probably. No, I am aware of how important Derrick Henry is to the game, the offense, everything. But I know that last season the Tennessee Titans, they didn't. It's not that they missed a step without Derrick Henry, but that run game was not the problem for Tennessee when it came down to it. When Derrick Henry was out, that run game
It was absolutely the problem. See, this is what we do, because we saw Deontay Foreman come in and have good games and Hilliard. But what is that? Why do they have good games? Because as a defense, I no longer have to put 8 in the box. I no longer have to put an extra safety up there to worry about Derrick Henry. I'll let good luck Deontay Foreman being consistent enough to beat me, right? So I can now play more coverage on A.J. Brown. I can now stop that play action.
So you're not necessarily saying this is about a fear of people not being able to carry the torch while Derrick Henry's out, but the fear of defenses not selling out for Derrick Henry anymore, and the lack of weapons that Tennessee has, that it's going to be all on that running game, and you can't win in this league without at some point relying on your passing attack. Robert Woods coming off of a torn ACL, a Treylon Burks who's having some question marks early on. Obviously, that could pan out. He could end up doing well once mini camps and all that stuff gets rolling in August, or July. There's just a lot of uncertainty. And
no one's afraid of a team that can't run the football.
Yep.
Tony,
that's why King Henry.
It's the Kansas City Chiefs of the last year when we were trying to, like, the first part of the season. Teams can scheme against you when they know what you want to do. When you have a weapon like Derrick Henry who is healthy and running at his full potential, it makes their passing game great no matter if they have weapons or not, because of the play action game. Without Derrick Henry being, to me, I don't know that Derrick Henry can carry another 378 carry season. I don't
think he should.
Maybe that's why they drafted Hassan Haskins, though.
Perhaps, but that's not, like, let's be honest. Are we anybody here thinking Hassan Haskins is going to be Derrick Henry?
No. But to spell him and to lighten the workload.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, I would assume it's to lighten the workload. I don't know that Tennessee's offense can be successful without Derrick Henry getting 35 carries a game. Let's
see what our standings look like for the Tennessee Titans. Aaron, you have them at 8 and 9. AJ, you have them at 7 and 10. Dylan, you have them at 9 and 8 with the winning season, and I am the lowest of everyone, maybe disrespectfully low.
You're just disrespectful.
Maybe disrespectfully low. And I can go through my schedule and tell you guys the losses. I mean, it's not far fetched to think that they go 6 and 11. I have them losing to Buffalo, not crazy. I have them losing to Las Vegas, not crazy. Losing against Indianapolis, again, not crazy. Outside of the bye, I have them winning against Indianapolis, so I have them splitting that. Then they lose to Kansas City, lose to Denver, lose to Green Bay, lose to Cincinnati, lose to Philadelphia, lose to the Chargers, and lose to Dallas, and lose to Jacksonville at the end of the season. So maybe 2 of those games can be flip-flopped and changed, like the Jacksonville game at the end of the season, and maybe like somewhere they can find a way to beat one of these top playoff teams. But I just don't see it. And that's why I have them at 6 and 11, because I just don't see that ending up happening.
Denver at home, that's a game that they could win. I mean, we like Denver, but they still have to go on the road to Tennessee. I think that's a game that they can win. I actually have them weirdly winning more games than you, but losing twice to Indy. So it's kind of interesting. But I do have them beating a couple of good teams. I have them beating the Chargers. I have them beating Denver, and I have them beating Philadelphia. Along with the rest of the weaker teams on their division.
I like Bailey's comment. Vrabel's a heck of a head coach.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no way that he could lose 11 games with this roster.
But what's one thing we've talked about this offseason? We're starting to see things kind of spiral. Maybe Vrabel will be able to get that all under control, and maybe he changes everything around. He's a very good coach. I respect him, and I agree. It looks disrespectful to say the Tennessee Titans, who have won this division and have been good ever since, have been good for the past few seasons. Well, average.
They haven't had less than 9 wins though in a long time.
That's what I'm saying. They've been a pretty 500 team for the past few years, and a big part of that is because of Mike Vrabel, and I do respect that. And if you look at the 6 and 11, you think it is disrespectful, but it's not. When I listed those losses for the Titans, are any of them that crazy?
No. No, but it's also not that crazy to think that they could win some of those games.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not saying maybe once the season starts, once we get to our full predictions on September 1st before the season starts or whenever before the season starts, maybe it'll change. But I still think as of right now that the Tennessee Titans are a 6-11 team and not the cream of the crop in the AFC South anymore. Who I do think is the cream of the crop in the AFC South is the Indianapolis Colts. Their schedule looks like this with a primetime game against Denver in Denver, week 5, followed up by Pittsburgh in week 12 on Monday Night Football, Dallas right before the bye on Sunday Night Football, and the Chargers Monday Night Football week 16. AJ, what is the storyline heading into the Indianapolis Colts season?
Man, it's really funny that we're here again because last year the Indianapolis Colts got this guy by the name of Carson Wentz, and I thought it was a fresh start and he'd be good, and so it ended. And we know how that ended. Of course, this happens. But I'm going to do it again. They got a new quarterback, and his name's Matt Ryan. And I'm going to ask, is it crazy to think that the Indianapolis Colts can be Super Bowl contenders? I look at this roster, and I think they are deep definitely on the defensive side. I think they are well-rounded on the offensive side. And I think the weapons that we talked about them not having last season when it comes to receiving, I think they fixed a small amount of those problems based on the quarterback they got, as well as the collection of pieces and what they specialize in. Everywhere you look, this is one of the teams, I think, in the AFC South that can embody next man up mentality better than some of the other teams because they have the wherewithal of depth pieces. So I look at this roster, and I think that they have the possibility to go very deep into the into the postseason. I love the addition of Jelani Woods. I think him and Mo Alley Cox having those big 6'8", 275 type guys on the edges to block and to be red zone threats and to be first down blankets. I'm all about that. To pick up a Yannick Ngakoue and Stephon Gilmore, those are huge pickups on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, they have to get everything situated with Kenny Moore, and I'd imagine they will. This is a really talented roster, and I definitely think that they have no reason not to be the number 1 seed in the AFC South.
Yeah, when I wrote this, if I was writing for the Indy Star, my headline, can the Colts, what I have them at, can the Colts take the next step, right? That's what they need to do. I mean, every single year they're overhyped as shit. Every single year, they're the most overhyped team in the league because they see the thing. Oh, they got a good defense. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got, we can do this. We can do that. Show it to me, okay? Chris Ballard, he's been a non-aggressive GM most of his career. That's switched. He ended up making a lot of offseason additions as he brought over some pieces to Indianapolis. And, I mean, that's something that he hasn't done in a while. I mean, this is a team that every single year you expect them to do something big, and then they don't. I mean, it's got to get to a point right now. I think they need to take that next step, and I believe they can with who they brought in on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, for me, my storyline is Matt Ryan going to do the same thing that Phillip Rivers did 2 years ago? I think people forget how good Phillip Rivers was for them 2 years ago, which is going 11-5, playing well, getting to the playoffs, but falling short because he's kind of past his prime. And, Matt Ryan's been good. He hasn't been great over the past couple of seasons. His yards have gone down basically every season. He's throwing in more interceptions now at this stage in his career than he's thrown in the past. And I get it. He's played in Atlanta, but he did have Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones in the past couple of seasons, Kyle Pitts last year. So he's had some talent there. I just worry that this is the same Colts team that they were 2 years ago, which is a really good football team, a good running back in the backfield, good defense, but just not enough to get over that hump to call them the Super Bowl contenders because they can't compete at the quarterback position with teams like Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert and the Chargers, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, Buffalo and Josh Allen. So I wonder if they're going to have the same issue this year that they had in 2020.
No more Carson Wentz.
I think having the line is going to do Matt Ryan some wonders. Agreed. I mean, even still with that bad line, he only fell 35 yards short of 4,000 for like the 8th or 9th consecutive season.
Let's not like boast Indy's line too much because they lost pieces, and I don't know that they got significantly better than last year. And let's be honest, they don't have the weapons on the outside that really create a lot of separation, including a Michael Pittman, who's just a big body. And it's not the same as playing behind a solid offensive line and having receivers that can separate. Matt Ryan's either going to have to force balls in there to tighter windows, or they're going to have significant better protection than they did last year for Carson Wentz, who's more mobile than Matt Ryan. So I don't know that this offensive line is as good as we're giving them credit for in this stage and where they're at.
I worry a little bit about this team. I got another point here. I talked about can they compete and stuff like that. You talk about the pieces they brought in. You have Stephon Gilmore and all this stuff that happens. Like, here you go, looking at the additions. It's about time. There was Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, was pissed off after the GM, after Ballard, the moves and all that stuff when it took place. He wanted some change. He fired him up, right? So Matt Ryan, they bring in Matt Ryan, Yannick Ngakoue, all these big pieces. You drafted Alec Pierce. I mean, that's what they needed to do. They needed to bring in weapons. But I'll tell you this, Matt Ryan, right? He's a good quarterback. He's someone that can step in there. I question if he can get it done without weapons, because you look at his entire career, whether you're going back to his early days of Tony G, Roddy White, Julio Jones with the dreads or the small dread cut that he had, and then they got good as he got older, and then you had some other pieces, a Calvin Ridley thrown in there, a good year from Mohamed Sanu. You have some good pieces, a tight end. He's had weapons his whole career. You're going to Indy with Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. Who else do you want to throw out there? You're only older. I mean, this is not good. You got a run game. You had that with Michael Turner. I question if Matt Ryan can get it done without any weapons, because I haven't seen it in his career. 20 picks, 20 touchdowns and 12 picks last year, throwing to Christian Blake and Zacchaeus.
Listen, last year, we know last year. That's fine. Last year happened, okay? Get over it. It happened. Look at the type of the people and the weapons you talked about that he had. I'm not saying Michael Pittman is Julio Jones, but the body type, the big body, the long, the rangy, the catch radius. You look at Alec Pierce, a guy who can get downfield and separate and stack corners the way you need to. He's got two big tight ends to work with, and he's got a very solid running back by committee. Nyheim Hines is a great pass catcher. Jonathan Taylor has shown his capability to catch the ball. They just signed Phillip Lindsay, who's not some world beater, but he's no scrub either. He's been in crappy situations on bad teams, but now they have the weapons. They're not all pro receivers, but you can make something of it. Not everyone's going to have a number one receiver everywhere you look.
See, this is what I don't get. So now all of a sudden the Colts have the weapons. This is the same exact wide receiver room minus a T.Y. Hilton this year, and you add in a rookie in Alec Pierce, who we hope is going to be good, who we hope is going to turn into something. I don't look at this Colts room and say, oh, they have a bunch of weapons. They don't. Dylan's right. They don't have, to be honest, Michael Pittman is more, he's more Des Bryant than he is Julio Jones. Julio Jones could separate. Michael Pittman does not separate like that. Michael Pittman is a guy you're going to have to throw the ball into traffic and hope that he wins, which he does. I'm not saying he doesn't, but saying he's a weapon like Julio Jones or can do some of the things that Julio Jones does, no, not really. It's not even close. They're not even in the same stratosphere right now. A Paris Campbell who hasn't been healthy, and again, a rookie in Alec Pierce who you're hoping can take the top off of defense. And we're not just talking about 1 year with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan hasn't thrown 30 touchdowns the past 3 seasons. And before that, he had one decent year, and then he only had 20 touchdowns and 12 picks the year before that. So this is not some quarterback that's been killing it for years and then had one bad season. He's getting older. His effectiveness is not the same. He's had a great career. But let's not act like he is right in the same situation as Phillip Rivers was when he came to the Colts 2 years ago. And guess what? Phillip Rivers was good enough to win enough games, 11 games, get to the playoffs, play a team tough, but couldn't get the job done because he wasn't dynamic enough, because he didn't have the arm strength, because he didn't have the weapons on the outside to make things happen. And that's the exact situation that Matt Ryan's walking into. Can they be good? Yes. But are they going to compete with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Chargers, the Broncos? The Browns, if Deshaun Watson's there? I don't see it. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're ready to take that step yet until they get their future quarterback. And I'm sorry, 38-year-old Matt Ryan's not it.
We also need to like come back to life too with like Alec Pierce. Like when we did our pre-draft process, he was not even in our top 10 for wide receivers in this draft. Like we had like Jalen Tolbert, John Metch. We had those guys over Alec Pierce. So like, just pump the brakes on Alec Pierce. Maybe pump the brakes on the
He's a good deep threat. He's a good deep threat.
I'm not saying I am not saying I think he's a very talented wide receiver. He has the potential. He could still do some damage. Funny, we talk about how the Colts might not be there yet or there. We still have them as the top AFC South team. Aaron, you have them at 11-6. AJ, you have them at 12-5. Dylan, you have them at 11-6, and I have them at 12-5. They are the best of the AFC South. I think that's pretty cut and dry right there. I don't think that there's much to look at with, like, when we look at their schedule, they have some tough games, but then they have also the teams that they can still beat up on, Houston, maybe Jacksonville, I don't know, the Giants. I mean, this is still a schedule that favors the Indianapolis Colts more so than like the Titans schedule. But
they'll win regular season games because they can run the football. So they will win games. They're going to win enough games during the regular season because they run the football effectively. They have a really effective running back, and Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. He'll be able to win some regular season games. It's really going to boil down to those playoff matchups and being dynamic enough to go out and outscore a Buffalo and outscore a Kansas City, outscore a Chargers team or a Broncos team when they get there. So I think that's the real issue. It's not like I know we bashed them a lot kind of in this segment. This is not a knock on the Colts. They are a very good football team, but you need dynamic playmakers in the moments when they count and in the playoffs. And we saw that. We see that every year, whether it's even the 49ers with their success. They were dynamic enough because they had Deebo Samuel to make a run, right? The Rams, dynamic. Chiefs, dynamic. The Bengals had dynamic playmakers, and that's what you need when the games matter. And I think the Colts are lacking that right now.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't even remember where we had them in our power rankings, but I don't think that they're
meh.
Yeah, they're
not, in the middle somewhere. They're a good team.
Yeah, good team, not great team. Going to be tough in the AFC. A tough AFC, not just the AFC side. I mean, you'll get past the AFC. So.
The Colts are like AJ's internet. It's good, but when it matters, it just doesn't really live up to it.
Oh no, I can't let him in yet because I got to do this. But okay, all right. Poor guy. The Houston Texans are next on our list, and their schedule looks like this here with only one primetime game, and that is Week 9 against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. Dylan, what is the storyline heading into the 2022 season for the Texans?
Can Davis Mills be a starting quarterback in this league? I think that's one thing you look at here. Maybe you talk Lovie Smith, maybe, but I think you really look here with Davis Mills, and he's the guy that I think can be a starting quarterback. You saw him last year; he played great football games. The Chargers' upset was pretty damn impressive. There were times last year where it's like, man, this guy's making throws. He took over the job from Tyrod Taylor and started playing good football. And I mean, this is a guy I really think he can do it. I mean, you look at the numbers there, 16 touchdowns a season ago. I mean, this guy is just he made some great throws. He found Brandon Cooks was his guy most of the year. But, I mean, he needs to take that step. I think this is someone who can absolutely do it in this league, and this is his year to prove it. I mean, they'll find out if he can or not, but he's got a nice division to play with. It's not any big-time defenses. I think he could beat up on the Jags. I think he could beat up on some of the Titans maybe. But, I mean, he's someone that I think can do it. And this is his year too. And I think this is the year they find out as well.
Let's see it.
I should talk fast, huh? Maybe just in case that way anything goes wrong, I can never get everyone's words out. This season for the Houston Texans isn't anything about other than seeing what you have and how you're going to build on next season. Davis Mills, sure, a great storyline. That was last year's storyline. Is he good enough? We'll find out because they didn't pick anybody. So they obviously think that he can be a starter in the NFL for the Houston Texans. Other than that, how full is your roster and where do you go next season? What implement does Lovie Smith put together that he understands who's going to be his cream of the crop, the people that he puts his hat on season in and season out? Next year, are they going to grab themselves a brand new quarterback, or are they able to fill out other places on the roster? So annoying. So annoying.
You did good, though. You did good.
Good job, buddy.
We heard every bit of it. You did good. You did very good. You did good, kid.
Like I'm getting them hands again.
So as we go through I think this, even Texans fans are aware of where they stand. I think AJ nailed it on that one. But Aaron, what what are you looking forward to most when you look at the schedule? What should Texans fans be looking forward to most in 2022?
I think it's the upsets. I mean, we talked about the win. You know, they played New England close last year, the wins against the Chargers, things like that. I think you're looking at those same similar upsets this year. There's going to be games where these teams that are up and coming are going to snatch games. I'll be honest. I have them winning week 1 against the Colts. Coming in at home, fired up, new kind of direction, winning week 1. I have them beating 3 good teams this year. I'm beating Vegas, I have them beating Philly, and I have them beating the Colts. And I think that's really what I'm looking at for their schedules is there's no game that we're saying, hey, Houston's going to win that football game. I think we're now just looking for the upsets.
Yeah, I think they can do it. And when you look at like the standings that we all have, 5-12 for you, 4-13 for AJ, 4-13 for Dylan, 4-13 for me. That's what were they last year? Were they 3-14? What did they finish last year? I can't remember.
I think they were 4.
I think they were 4-13.
So they're traveling down that same road where they're playing spoiler for everybody, and I think they can do it. I mean, let me take a look and see at my schedule here for the Texans. I have them beating Chicago, not really a big upset. I have them beating Washington. That's an upset. Carson Wentz comes into town. Yeah, you beat Washington.
Carson Wentz is the quarterback. It's not an upset.
Damn it. Then I don't have them beating. Oh, I have them beating Indianapolis in Week 18. Does that count?
You have that backwards though.
What?
You have that backwards. They're probably not going to go to Indy and beat Indy, but I mean,
we look at if you look at the rest of the standings and how I have it shaping out, Indy is playing for nothing Week 18. And
how do you know?
Wild cards in a tough AFC, you jabroni.
They're winning the division, you clown.
It could be for a seed. It could be for the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, number 3 seed.
I have a hard time seeing that, but you're correct. But the way I have the schedule shaking out for the Colts and the Texans, or the Colts and the Texans, is they meet in Week 18. They're not really playing for much. Matt Ryan takes it easy, and the Texans find a way to get the dub. You know, that's the way I see it, and they end up with Bryce Young next year, and we see Bryce Young and John Mechie together tearing it up. That's what's going to end up happening.
So you don't believe in Davis Mills then?
It's not that I don't believe in Davis Mills. It's that
wait. That's what you just said. By saying they're taking Bryce Young, it means you don't think Davis Mills is the guy.
Davis Mills, I think he can be a good, a decent quarterback in this league. I just think that next year, when next year rolls around and you're looking at Bryce Young or Davis Mills, you're not going to be able to pass up on Bryce Young or even CJ Stroud, not even to be a homer.
You have to have a horrible quarterback to feel that you're going to go and replace him next season. Like if you think that Davis Mills has been in place, like I'm talking like Josh Rosen was picked 10 overall. Then the next year, number 1, they went Kyler Murray because Josh Rosen was historically bad. If Davis Mills comes into the season and he plays well and he does what they need to do, they may look to fill out other places in their roster and then get a transcendent quarterback in years to come.
At 4-13, I'm not sure that actually
you can't use their record. You can't use the record.
Yeah, that's fair.
I figured it out, guys. This Houston Texans team was the 2020 Jacksonville Jaguars because they had a quarterback where they just tried Gardner Minshew, right? Give him the reins. This is your shot. If you have a bad year, you could get a Trevor Lawrence, a high draft pick, and a quarterback. If not, he could take over and be that starter long term. That's what they got with Davis Mills here.
Nope. It's completely different because Davis Mills was actually drafted with some draft capital, whereas Gardner Minshew was what? Davis, they invest can't forget they did. I mean, he wasn't a first round pick, but they did invest in Davis Mills. Like it's not like they didn't invest in him. So they're going to give him an opportunity.
That's what, and I think that opportunity is this year. And I think if he does, even if I get it, the schedule saying or the record saying 4-13 might not tell the whole story, but I think when you're looking at it on paper and you see, okay, Davis Mills or CJ Stroud or Davis Mills or Bryce Young, I think you might take your shot.
Bryce Young won't even be a top 3 quarterback drafted next year.
Really?
He won't.
We don't have to get into that.
But he won't. Like I mean, we always say Bryce Young because I do too. But like, he's probably not even going to be one of the first 3 quarterbacks off the board next year.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But first, while we round out our last 40 seconds, Aaron, big news.
Big news, everybody. We are no longer going to be broadcast on Belly Up Network, sports television, whatever that Belly Up Network is. We are we are parting ways with Belly Up and taking our ventures independent. We are going in a different direction. We want to thank Belly Up for allowing us to be part of their platform, but we have decided to go into a new direction as a crew. So Sac City will no longer be broadcast on Belly Up platforms. Yeah, that's all. Bye, Belly Up.
Bye, Belly Up.
Boom.
Okay. Boom. Bye, Belly Up. Deuces. Okay, so now we are obviously still live on YouTube, and just to let everyone know, us saying goodbye to Belly Up has nothing to do with anything you guys get on the daily basis. It will change absolutely nothing on the daily basis. Like us going into the Jacksonville Jaguars, and their schedule for 2022 looks like this, with only one primetime game, Week 16 on Thursday Night Football against the New York Jets. They do have a big Week 15 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys in Jacksonville that it's big for us here in Sac City, because
Duval.
hey, we
I'll
take
be
it
there.
over. We're going to take over Week 15 when the Cowboys come to town, and hopefully the Jaguars can put up a good fight. Dylan, you can start it off, buddy. What's the big storyline for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2022?
Off seasons don't win games. Games win games. You got to win football games in order to win football games, and the Jaguars haven't done a lot of that over the last few years. They haven't won more than 6 games since the marvelous 2017 run, which still baffles me to this day. But look, they drop buckets, right? This year they go over $100 million more of spent money that they have, and this is a chance for them to try to get back on track. Last year, you had the disaster that was Urban Meyer, that he brought in his own guys. This is your chance. They try bringing in and spending a lot of money and trying to buy wins. And if you watched the movie Moneyball in baseball, you can't buy wins. You got to buy players. And you're trying to buy wins, not buy players, is what you're trying to do. And the Jaguars here, they bought players, whether it's Christian Kirk, whether it's Brandon Sheriff. All these guys are nice additions. They need to translate that into wins. And I said the similar thing to the Lions last Wednesday, but that was heart to wins. This is money to wins, and the Jaguars need to win, and they haven't done a lot of that lately.
So my storyline here is going to be, you guys should like this one. You should be very happy. It's a connection between Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson, I think, is going to be a much improved coach as compared to Urban Meyer there. But what Doug Peterson's been to quarterbacks since he's basically been in this league since he was a player and, winning a Super Bowl behind Brett Favre in '96, I think about how he is going to help progress him in his second year. Look at the guys that Doug Peterson has brought along. When Mike Vick came back into the league for Philadelphia, he was a quarterback coach there. And while they weren't, winning Super Bowls or going deep playoff runs, Mike Vick came back into the league and was able to progress. Alex Smith in Kansas City. I remember, I think it was 2015. They started 1-5. Andy Reid says, hey, Doug, go ahead and work with Alex, take over the play calling. They win 10 straight games. Carson Wentz, what he is now, yeah, sure, we could talk about that forever. But his rookie season, everyone talked about him like it was gangbusters. His first 2 years, he had 7,000 yards and 49 touchdowns. And then he goes on to win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles after Carson Wentz gets hurt late in the season. So now you go with the generational talent, a number 1 overall pick, a guy that we all expect big things from, despite what we saw last year. And you get Doug Peterson, a guy who will invest in an offensive line, who will invest in improving and developing his quarterback and try to win football games the right way. So while you may not see an immediate, huge, big step in success this season, you will see improvements from Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And Doug Peterson, I think, will have a big part to do with that.
Yeah, for me, I'm only looking at one thing. It's pretty simple. I'm looking at how sad Jacksonville Jaguars fans are going to be by week 15 when they have 1 win or 2 wins, and they're starting to talk about we should have got a different coach and we need a new quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is not the answer. It's just unfortunate because
wait,
Hold on. No, you're not going to disrespect us like this for
Hold on. No, shut your mouth. You said only 1 win by around week 15, when week 15 rolls around. You have them at 4 wins. So if they're at 1 win when week 15 rolls around, that means when Dallas comes into town, we're gonna kick their sorry ass. Is what's happening.
Yeah.
See,
this is where Jaguars fans do. This is what Jaguars fans do. They take it so personal. It's a little bit out of context, a little bit sarcastic. I don't necessarily mean one.
Okay, well, then don't be sarcastic. Then just say what you want to say. Say
okay, then I'll say it just like I have it on my paper. When Jacksonville is, let's see, they're 3-6. When they're 3-6, Jaguars fans are going to be like, this is not working. They're 3-7. We need to get better. 3-8. Oh no, Trevor Lawrence is not the answer. 3-9. We need a new coach. 3-10. 3-11. 3-12. 3-13. All the way until
stupid though.
No,
you just so stupid though.
What's stupid is every year Jaguars fans have a new excuse as to what they're doing wrong. Instead of letting the process play out, let a young team develop and get better and endure those 4-13 years. Endure those 5 because look at the schedule. They're not winning. The Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to go this year and win 10 games. But yet every Jaguars fan, if they go 4-13 and they end up with the number 1 overall pick again, is going to be like, same old Jaguars, spend $100 million, don't win no games, instead of just looking at what's on tape, allowing the players to develop and being okay with that. And that's the difference between a delusional fan, which you tend to be with Jacksonville's, which is why you cut me off with them and not anybody else, and somebody that just looks at what they have and says, you know what? We're not a big market. We don't attract great free agents usually. We have a franchise quarterback that we drafted number 1 overall. We have to give him time to grow. Now he has a head coach who we think can do that. Do we expect that year 1? I'm sorry, I don't. And I do wish, AJ, you had some better names on the list of trying to support Doug Peterson than the names you posted, because that actually makes me a little bit worried. Because although Trevor Lawrence is a superior talent to those players, maybe outside of a Michael Vick, dynamic-wise, I now question what has Doug Peterson actually done with
while they were there, they were fine. When they went on to other places where they fell off,
but I'm not looking for fine from Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville can't have fine from Trevor Lawrence.
Agreed. That
is something I will agree with the Jacksonville fans on. He can't be just fine. He has to be a superstar. Otherwise, it was a loss. It's as simple as that.
7,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in 2 years. I mean, that ain't bad.
So the reason why I cut you off though was because, and we have to stop, like we say this on the show all the time, and I'm not just talking about or defending Jacksonville Jaguar fans here. If anything, I'm not defending them at all, but we talk about all the time. All fan bases have to come to grips with reality on these things. Okay. There are plenty of Texans fans out there that do the same thing that what you said, Jaguar. You're just not as close to Texans fans as you are with us two jabronis who are Jaguar fans.
I'm only speaking about the Jacksonville Jaguars right now.
I'm aware, but why didn't you say that when the Texans were up?
Because
why didn't you say that when the Lions were up yesterday?
Because the Texans didn't spend a first-round pick on Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, so why didn't you say that when the Bears were up the other day?
I did talk about the Bears.
You didn't talk about their fans, though. You didn't say, okay, Bears fans, you have to be patient with Justin Fields.
Vinny,
they have a new head coach.
Fan base,
they got a new head coach. What?
You have to understand, the Bears fan base is not the ones I'm talking to. I hear you in the chat and Dylan in my chat. I haven't seen a Bears fan.
This is exactly what I just said. You're confirming what I just said.
They don't talk to me. What I'm saying is I'm talking directly to you because you are the one I've heard. You are the one I've heard.
But I just said this. I literally these are the words that came out of my mouth. Listen closely.
I heard you.
I said to you, the reason why that you are doing this for the Jaguars and you're saying that, it's the Jaguars fans do this. All fans do it. And this is what I was trying to be neutral here. I was trying to say all fans do this.
But that's not the point. Because I'm very consistent, Vinny. When Cincinnati fans are delusional, what do I say? When Tennessee Titans fans are delusional, guess what? The only people that have chirped at me have been Tennessee Titans fans, Cincinnati Bengals fans, and you and Dylan. And mostly you when you get all in your feelings about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
To me, I just think all fan bases have to get a grip with the reality of what's actually happening with their teams. That's what I was trying to say. Not trying to attack you.
You did. You stopped me in the middle of my soliloquy.
You were singling out Jaguar,
because that's who we're talking about.
You even said it. Maybe I was being a little bit sarcastic. Maybe I was doing this and that. You were. Yeah. So I stopped you because you were being sarcastic.
I do that with every fan base that we're discussing.
You were not.
Vinny,
That is
stop.
not what happened.
Every time anybody from a fan base has talked to me personally that I have disagreed with, Bengals fans, I directly look at them and I tell them they need to get a grip. I don't do that with the Green Bay Packers or the Rams or anybody because
that's what you do.
they have.
But that's what I just said.
But you're not listening. It's because they have not said anything to me. You have. You are a Jaguars fan and you've said something to me.
Do you want me to go on my phone and look up all the notifications of people saying things to you in the comment section on YouTube?
Yes, and I directly impact those. I've done it with Carson Wentz. I've done it with Washington.
To them, even if it's on the show or it's through comments, it's direct. It's not sarcastic. It's honest. It's there. It's saying what they need to do.
I've said there's sarcastic things before. When I talk about Carson Wentz being a turd and doing all this stuff, like that's sarcasm. I am very respectful to these players in the NFL and knowing that they're NFL players. A lot of it is sarcastic, but what is not sarcastic is talking about the franchise and the state of the franchise that they're in. If the difference between you stopping me was 1 win versus me saying when they're 3-12, then I'm sorry. I should have said they were 3-12.
I stopped you because you were being sarcastic, and you were not.
I wasn't.
You said you were. That's the word.
I said the one.
You literally said those words.
All right.
No, stop. I was being sarcastic when I said 1-13. That's what I said. Easily could have said 3-12.
That's when I stopped you. Because
so you wouldn't have stopped me if I would have said 3-12? If I'd have said 3-12, you wouldn't have stopped me.
No, because that's accurate. That is a potential record for the Jaguars. But you said 1-16, so that, and you were being, you know what you were doing. You said it yourself.
I mean, that also makes him correct that you're in your feelings because we can be sarcastic about 1,000 things.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter.
You don't stop me when I do that with anybody else. When I'm sarcastic about anybody else, Velus Jones being 100 years old, that's sarcasm. You didn't stop me. It's not realistic. No, exactly. It's Jacksonville. You're in your feelings. You're in your feelings.
You're right. I am in my feelings. But I was trying not to be in my feelings because I was trying to say to everybody, to all fan bases, and everyone who watches this show, just to be realistic with your team's expectations, okay? That's what I was trying to say.
I was getting ready to go Javon Kinlaw on you and start yelling at you with food in my mouth.
That's fine. That's fine. My show will get the views, and apparently that jabroni is a god amongst San Francisco 49ers fans. I mean, we see it in the comments all the time. I digress. Let me get into my storyline here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it actually has a lot to do with what you just said and what I was trying to honestly say about the Jaguars. It's that we just seeing the step in the right direction for the Jaguars, even if it's whatever record, what's the records that we have? Even if it's 4-13, even if it's a 4-13 record, and they are doing exactly like maybe like the Detroit Lions did last year, they're losing games. It's a tough season, but you're still seeing that hope, and that's what the problem was last season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's one of the reasons why we did kind of get upset last year with the Jags, is because there wasn't that many glimpses of hope. There was some. I'm not going to be ignorant and say there was none, but there was very little. There was not many glimpses of hope to be, okay, we can continue moving into a positive direction. And then it spiraled again, and we're back to square one again. We just want to see constant steps in the right direction. If it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, I'm okay with that. It happens. They're a young football team. But I don't want to see 2 steps forward and 25 steps back because Urban Meyer kicked Josh Lambo. So like stuff like that. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen again or whatever. I'm just saying we don't want to be set back as a team. And when you look at the standings, it looks like all of us do believe that the Jaguars are going to take a step in the right direction. Aaron, you have them at 4-13. AJ, you have them at 5-12. Dylan is a little excited and has him at 7-10, and I have him at 5-12, just like AJ. So Dylan, I'll direct this to you. When you look at the Jaguars' schedule, where's the extra wins coming from that some people may think the Jaguars are going to lose?
I think they start hot. And when I say hot, I think they can beat Washington. We saw Carson Wentz against that team last year. That was pretty easy. The Colts, I mean, I'm telling you, it's Jacksonville. I said it last year, even when they sucked. Even when the Jaguars were dead-ass team last year, I said, watch out, the Colts are going to lose because they always do there in Jacksonville. 2-0, right? Lose to the Chargers, lose to Philly. Houston, I think they win. There's 3. Lose to Indianapolis. They can beat the Giants 4. They go on a tough skid before their bye. They lose all 3. They're at 4. They can beat Detroit 5. I think they split Tennessee at 6. I think they take the Jets at 7. If they don't take the Jets at 7, then they take Houston at 7. And I think that gets them their 7 wins.
It's not delusional. I will. It's not. And I will say this. I actually have them starting hot. That's what I told you. I have them hot in the sense of 3 and 4, which would be, I'm sure Jaguars fans would love that if they start 3 and 4. I think the biggest thing here is I think the middle part of that season is going to be tough for them because those teams it's a tough schedule for the most part. When you get teams that are bad football teams, and they've been a bad football team, the games that we look at and say they should win, they're not there. So when you have them going against Houston, it's a division game, so you can have them splitting it. But when they play against Washington, you're like, yeah, Washington's a bad football team. So is Jacksonville. So that game becomes now a toss-up game. And if you lean Jacksonville, then so be it. And that's kind of what Dylan did to me. Is he those games that are like you can lean either way. He gave the edge to Jacksonville, which is perfectly fine. If Jacksonville won 7 games, you could come on here and I would be like, I'm not surprised.
I'd be jumping in the streets.
But I wouldn't be surprised either. Like. I really would not be surprised because they do have winnable games on the schedule, but are they going to be able to pull out those winnable games? And I just lean towards saying no in this case.
I have them going 0-4 to start the season. I have them losing their first 4 games and then winning
that Indy game. They're going to win. That's still it's still going to be hot in Jacksonville at that time. It's only week 2. I like Dylan. There is something to be said as you haven't beat a team since 2012 or whatever it is
14.
At home.
Yeah.
That even counts London too. They even went across the pond and got their ass kicked.
It's tough.
I remember last year. I was that guy. There's no way Colts are going to lose Jacksonville last week of the season, and you guys convinced me to take them and talked me into it, and it happened. I will never doubt it anymore until it's over.
Shocking.
I went with all the teams getting their revenge on Jacksonville this year, and Carson Wentz beating them week 1.
No,
I think that.
Here's where I knew that record would never be broken, where the Colts will never win in Jacksonville again. When Cody Kessler beats an Andrew Luck playoff Colts team 6-0, then yeah, that's never happening again.
Something in the water.
I mean, last year was that prime example. Like,
I don't think there's a better example than last year, honestly.
True.
It was.
Carson Wentz or not, man. Like, I'm sorry, the Jags were not good enough to beat, or should not have been good enough to beat that Indianapolis.
Especially with what was on the line for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Especially with what was on the line.
Yeah. Let's also not forget, Yannick Ngakoue is now an Indianapolis Colt.
Boy, he better go scorched earth.
Lots of revenge
he's
games.
so excited for that Raiders game.
He's been on 5 teams in 3 years. I don't know what's going on there.
He's been
He's got Minnesota. Yeah, getting it up. Vegas.
Baltimore.
Getting it up.
Vegas.
I forgot he was with Baltimore too. Wow.
Yeah. Jacksonville, Minnesota, Baltimore, Vegas, and now the Colts in 3 years.
And they play him all this year.
I thought he was I think he's a good player, but I mean,
no, he is good.
I love.
He's been productive. He's been productive. Something's just not right there. Like maybe it's a personnel or a personality thing. I don't know. Something's not right there, but he is good.
Yeah, agreed. All right. So our final standings for the AFC South looks like this. We all have the Indianapolis Colts number 1. We all have the Tennessee Titans number 2. We all have the Houston Texans. Oh well, Dylan doesn't have the Houston Texans. We all have the Houston Texans in last, except for Aaron. Numbers are really hard for me. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Take the Michael Sherman math tutoring class.
I really should just go to
third.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have the Jags third, except for Aaron, who has the Jags last, and Houston third. Why do you have any reasoning behind that, Aaron, at all?
Why do I have the Houston?
Yeah, it's just one game. I'm not really going to look into it that much, but maybe you do have something on that.
Some of their game, it really came down to, for me, I do a lot based on home and away. And it came down to some of the games that I feel like they have at home that they can pull off against good teams. Remember I talked about upsets? I think when you play some good teams at home, I think they're likely to lay down because they expect to win. They come in there, they have letdown games. That's really what it boiled down to. I think I have them beating, like I said, I only have them beating two bad football teams, Washington and Jacksonville. But I haven't beaten Philly, Indy at home, and then going on the road to Vegas and getting them off of their bye week. So off of Houston's bye week, they come back, they play well there. But to me, Jacksonville just had a tougher stretch. After that Giants game, I have Jacksonville losing every single game until week 18.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a tough stretch. ETN will
wanted
be
to
ready
pull
to
this up.
go.
Yeah, he's ready.
yeah, he's-
Cleared for practice. Should be 100% for training camp.
I think y'all are getting ready to have a pretty closer to a run-heavy style team this year anyways. I think that might be a step that kind of helps. I can see Doug Peterson keeping the line moving forward and having the usage of James Robinson and Travis Etienne.
Doug Peterson's
Likes to
going to
run
throw
the
that
ball.
football all over the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure
He
where
likes to run the football.
I'm not sure where you're getting that in.
With who? Who was he throwing the football with in Philly? Who was he running
Hey,
the
wait,
football
whoa.
with in
Michael
Philly?
Vick is on this list. Michael Vick is on this list, okay?
Doug Peterson is a quarterback. That man's going to throw the football.
Agreed. And all their signings in the offseason, too, led to pass.
James Robinson will get his ETN, and they'll probably use ETN out of the pass game. So, but it's going to be about Trevor Lawrence and the step he takes.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. All right, that does it for our AFC South coverage. We'll be back again live on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Going over the NFC South and AJ's Atlanta Falcons, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, you're so lucky I'm not going to be here.
We can do it right now. Let's talk about it.
All right, going into the NFC South, their schedule looks like this.
I know one thing. Dylan is not prepared for that. No.
Dylan's not even prepared for the live shows, let alone a show that's supposed to be on Monday. Get out of here.
He was more prepared than I was, so I won't go on this one.
Well, that's like a turd sandwich and a giant douche, like in the South Park episode.
Which one's the turd, Vinny?
Like, you have to ask. All right. Well,
oh, boy.
Glad we're
okay.
friends,
I'm going out tonight. I'm celebrating my last couple days before I head out. I love everybody. Appreciate you guys.
There it is. We appreciate
show,
you.
Man.
Best of luck in your future endeavors. We will miss you.
Can't wait to have you back.
Damn, I'm not retiring.
Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Whoa.
Hey,
this is bringing back memories of old school stuff, man, when we would just sit here and talk about nothing for 25 minutes and people still be listening.
Hey, let's do a final countdown.
No, I gotta go. Let's wrap it up.
Nope. That does it for another episode of the Sac City Podcast. We'll be back in live Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. For your boy AJ Johnson and for my best friend Aaron Mukes and for the smoothest voice in sportscasting, I am me. We will see you Monday.
Peace out.
Bye.
We know we were a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves.